Hi everybody, Father Bill Holtzinger here, and this is your Friday reflection. Well, we're concluding the second week of Advent, moving into the third week of Advent. And then that fourth week of Advent is not even a day long, really. Maybe if you count Saturday evening, then it's a day long, but just barely. It's because Christmas lands on a Monday. Christmas lands on a Monday. We'll be doing Christmas Eve Masses on Sunday evening. We'll have to shortcut some of the Sunday morning masses just to be able to deal with the workload. And we're not sure that many people would show up to that anyway because it's so close to the eve. Anyhow, that's just details. I'm just curious though, as we're moving through Advent, you may have your things that you do, the rituals that you do in your family. I'm curious, what are they? Now for me, growing up, we would put up the Christmas tree. And it was a fake tree every year growing up. And also during that time, we would then put up different figurines, a manger scene, decorations with socks on the mantle. We had a fireplace that we never used, but we were always told it would cause a fire if we used it. But anyhow, we put our socks up there. And the wonderful things, we got close to Christmas. And in fact, on Christmas Eve, because I don't know what you are, whether when you're growing up or now, are you a Christmas Eve gift opener, or do you wait till Christmas Day? Is that when you give and receive gifts? Well, in our family, growing up, my family, it was on the eve. In order to, though, be able to get in the house, this is what happens. We'd actually, because Santa had not shown up yet. So what we would do is we would have a simple dinner, and then we'd go out to see the lights, or we'd go Christmas caroling. Now, remember that I'm the ninth of nine. I'm from a very large family. And so there'd be like 5 of us at any given time. And we'd sometimes go up and down the street for a while, take about 30 minutes or maybe even an hour. And we'd go on the doors of people and just start singing. And they'd open them up and they'd thank us. They all knew who we were because we were, neighbors. And this was our tradition. But other times we would get in the car and sometimes we'd go drive around and see the lights that were in the area. Just this evening, this is now Wednesday, the 13th, the feast or the memorial of St. Lucy. I thought, well, kind of neat that would be to go see some lights in honor of St. Lucy. But also, this is a time when we put up Christmas lights in our houses. You can probably see a little bit right there, my Christmas tree behind me, but outside the house. And so that's what we would do. And then we would wait to see, and we'd kind of maybe pass by the house. We'd wait to see if we'd been gone long enough. And the key was when the light of the porch was on, that meant Santa had arrived and already left, and we were ready, or they were ready at the house. Dad, of course, would stick around to meet Santa, and that's how that would go. I don't know what your traditions are. Sometimes people, you have you might have open one Christmas present on Christmas Eve, and then open the rest of them on Christmas Day. I have friends that did that. For us, we'd stay up a long time. In fact, in our case, we'd stay up so long because we had so many kids. There'd be lots of presents, and we would open up one at a time. And then after it was opened, then it would be passed around for everybody could see. And that took a long time. Sometimes we'd have to take breaks. But I think that was the only time in my childhood that we'd be up to the wee hours of midnight, sometimes even 1 o'clock. But it was just magical. But I wasn't always that good of a kid. In fact, I struggled sometimes because I would start counting to make sure that, okay, am I next? Because it would have an order that the gifts would be given. And I would be a little bit miffed if I was skipped in that order. And that's not good, right? And that kind of begat a time for me where I was sometimes very dissatisfied at Christmas because I wasn't being treated fairly, or I didn't get a present that was as big as somebody else's was, or something like that. So I would start comparing. Fast forward a little bit more, as a now middle schooler or high schooler, I had a conversion. I went on retreats, and in the process I had a conversion. I started realizing that gifts are good, but I didn't need them. And I was actually embarrassed and ashamed that I was so selfish, self-centered as a young one. And of course, I realize now that that's part of growing up. That's part of the developmental stages of growing up. But when I realized that was my situation, I felt horrible. So when I was in my high school years, it was more akin to asking if we could just, and again, there was just me and my sister Anne at that point at high school. Everybody else had graduated already. And so we would just exchange maybe one, possibly two gifts between my sister, me, my mom, and dad. And that was it, really. It was very simple. And I was grateful because again, I didn't need anything. But it was just good to be with the family. And for me, it was part of my maturing into, like I say, adulthood and trying to be more selfless than selfish. Gotta blow my nose. Hold on. Back to Advent. Do you go looking at houses with lights on them? Does your family do Christmas carols in the house, or do you wander around and go to the neighborhood and sing Christmas carols? I haven't seen that in a long time. In fact, I can't remember when I've seen it last, except for when we did it when I was a kid and our family was doing it. But it's a time I would encourage you, if you haven't done this, to spend some time and just get away from the hustle and bustle of things and just remember the joy of the season. Remember that the light overcomes the darkness, and the darkness will never prevail. When I was in Forest Grove, the first place of being a pastor at St. Anthony in Forest Grove, I was on a street near a lot of nurseries. It was a very dark street. And I would come home after a day's work and tired, and sometimes it was a good day, sometimes a bad day, as it is for everything. And I would come home and it was dark. So I decided when it was Advent to put up Christmas lights. And I used the white ones that were like snow coming off the gutters, or dangling off the gutters, the lights that do that. And it really brightened up my attitude. It was wonderful because it reminded me that the light will overcome the darkness. And that's what we need to remember in this season, that the light is coming to us in Christmas. And the light has shone ever since and has never been overcome, despite all the things that have happened in the world. Ever since then, I've done something with the house, and so I actually put some lights up a couple of weeks ago, just on some shrubs, and then another week after that, I put some purple ones around the apple tree, what's left there. And then just this last Monday, I put up some spiral trees that I've had stowed away. I thought I lost them, but I went, oh, there they are, and a wreath on the outside. Just some LEDs, some are not. And for me, again, coming home when it's dark out is a beautiful moment, because I could see the beauty of the lights, the beauty of the colors. And it just warms my heart. If you do not have a tradition, it would be so simple if you would create one. Because I think it's important we have traditions that we can lean back on, that remind us of the most important truths. That Christ is the light of the world, and the light has overcome the darkness. And a little baby born in the manger. My friends, this weekend, Deacon Brett will be offering the homily, and pray for him as he's preparing. Again, this is the third of the 4 parts. The first on the Eucharist, and the first one was about Eucharist and sacrificial love. The second one was with Father Anthony, and he spoke about the Eucharist as a vehicle of healing. And remember, he talked about comfort food. And Deacon Brett will be speaking something about the Eucharist and communion. I hope to see you there. Think about inviting someone to come with you, and maybe even start thinking about who might you want to invite to come to Christmas Mass. Our Christmas Masses are on Christmas Eve. That's a Sunday evening at 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8 p.m., and then on Christmas Day at 9 a.m. God bless you, and I'll see you at church. Bye-bye.